It is 4 p.m. We bring developing news to the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao. And the stories we have for Monday, December 22. Batangas Congressman Leandro Leviste says the documents he obtained from former Undersecretary Catalina Cabral is, and we quote, 110% authentic. According to Leviste, the documents detail proponents of multi-billion peso budget insertions by the DPWH nationwide. The lawmaker refuses to disclose the names in the soft copy, leaving it to the DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon to do so. Meantime, only select people have been allowed in the wake of Cabral, who fell into a ravine in Benguet last week. Investigation into her death is now ongoing. The DOJ confirms that Sims construction contractor Sally Santos has returned 15 million pesos as part of partial restitution. Santos is one of the respondents in the complaint over alleged ghost flood control projects in Bulacan. The DOJ previously said that Santos is under evaluation for the Witness Protection Program. Save the Philippines Coalition has filed complaints for plunder, graft, technical malversation, and grave misconduct before the Office of the Ombudsman. These are against former Finance Chief and now Executive Secretary Ralph Recto and former PhilHealth President Emmanuel Ledesma. The complaints stem from the transfer of PhilHealth's 60 billion pesos excess funds to the National Treasury. Recto says he will cooperate with the Ombudsman and maintains that he acted in good faith under a congressional mandate. VP Duterte denies any links to Ramil Madriaga, who claims to be her bagman. She says she has no personal relationship with Madriaga and never gave him any instructions or even visited him in jail. The VP also accused him of spreading false statements to undermine her potential 2028 presidential bid. Madriaga claims that Duterte's 2022 election campaign was funded by pogo operators and drug dealers. And the Supreme Court affirms the guilty verdict against 3 police officers in the 2017 anti-drug killing of 17-year-old Kian de los Santos in Caloocan City. Arnel Juarez, Jeremiah Pereda, and Jerwin Cruz were sentenced to reclusion perpetua or up to 40 years in prison. They were also ordered to pay 275,000 pesos in damages to Kian's family. The court said all elements of murder were present under Article 248 of the revised Penal Code. And joining us today, ang magpapaskong tito, si Tito Ronald Llamas.
Merry Christmas!
Ho, ho, ho!
Oh, ho, ho! Ano ba? 3 days ago?
3 days to go. At mula sa Parañaque City, ang ating kasamahan, siya ba'y nakapula ngayon? Hindi.
Oh.
Naka-lemon yellow.
Lemon yellow.
From the Star, Editor-in-Chief Ami Paintuan.
Yeah.
Dito lemon, yellow, green to. Iba lang yung screen nyo.
So, yeah.
Yellow, green. Yellow, green. Yellow, green. Oh.
Alam mo naman mga lalaki,
Green
mga
and
barbarin
red
sa mga ganyang bagay.
Green and red pag Pasko.
Pwede rin.
Teka, bago lahat, Ami, maraming salamat daw para sa Food for the Gods.
Nasaan?
May panadala pa ako dyan.
Kanina pa nilang pinapakyaw, oh. Ngumuyang-nguyay mga staff, oh. Sa mga
Meron
hindi
pa
po
bukas ulit.
Di mo lang umabot sa akin.
Late ka kasi.
Meron bukas kayo.
Di ba?
Ay, pupunta ka dito bukas eh.
Yun nga, nag-request nga ako, Zoom na lang dahil grabe traffic. Kanina, 3 oras.
Ha?
Oo.
Papuntang Makati?
Hindi, papuntang dito.
Mandaluyong.
Quezon City.
Talaga? 3 hours, ha? Sa mga hindi nakakaalam, si Ami Pamintuan ay magaling po na magaling mag-bake.
Talaga?
Oo.
Oo.
Ano mo?
Buti pa si Ami, may skills eh, no? Si Manny Mugato, wala eh.
si Mogs naman, ano yan? Meron siyang...
Kumain. Ayun, yung skill niya, kumain.
Tsaka si Manny Mogs, meron siyang tawag doon, yung sa Basic Instinct, yung artista doon,
The Basic Instinct.
Oo.
Si Sharon Stone.
Meron siyang Sharon Stone moments eh.
Sharon Stone.
Oy, nakabukas yung kanyang kwan.
Ano yun? Bastos yun.
Si Manny kasi bubuka yung polo eh. Naupo.
Sumasabog. Sumasabog sa laki ng tiyan. O parang nagtatalsikan yung mga butones. Yung gano'n na.
Madalas mag-Sharon Stone moment eh.
Didimanda ka ni Sharon Stone.
Kaya ko, kung Sharon Stone sila sabi mo.
So yun. Pero nga, si Ami magaling yung mag-bake.
Ang sagwa nun, yung
Laglag
Sharon
pa nga
Stone
ninyo.
moment, si Manny Mugato.
Oo nga, magdidimanda nga si Sharon
Ang sagwa
Stone.
nun.
Eh bakit ba? To each his own.
Oo.
Meron si Ami, si Ami tuloy. Si Manny may angking ano yan, may angking
Innocence?
Di ko masabi.
Innocence.
May angking galing. No?
May angking hatak yan.
Yan. Editor eh. Editor eh. Pwede bang wala nga angking hatak yan?
Tsaka Pulitzer. Yeah? Pulitzer. So yun. Well, anyway, ang daming nangyari nung patapos yung linggo at over the weekend. Ang daming tsaka ang dami lumabas mga bagong video, di ba? Of course, we're talking about Cabral here. Si former USEC Catalina Cabral. May dalawang lumabas na nakita kong video na dashcams. Magkakaiba. May paakyat, may pababa ng Baguio.
Paakyat, pababa.
Oo, kung sa makikita mo, isang sasakyan tapos may babaeng nakaupo doon sa ano.
Hindi, daan na naman talaga yan. Daan na naman talaga yan.
Nagmumuni-muni. Pero makipot yung kaling, makipot yung area yun, bawal lang ano doon.
Kaya nga
Bawal yung
pinaalis.
sightseeing.
Kaya pinaalis sila eh. Nung unang
Pinaalis
pumunta.
the first time. The first time, sabi nila, John B. Cremulya, sure na daw sila na suicide, ha? Yun yung bago ngayon. Ayan, pinaalis sila dyan kasi hindi naman yan yung tourist area.
Yeah, tsaka although nakatabi yung sasakyan, pero kalahati ng sasakyan.
Delikado yung pagkakaparking nung niya.
Oo,
Nandun siya sa
nakausli
gilid.
pa rin yung kalahating sasakyan doon sa pinaka, sa
pinaka
kalsada.
Yun, mabuntik na magkabanggaan yung dalawang
Kailangan talaga umiwas yung parating eh.
Delikado nga. Kahit siya kung nag-park siya near the mountain, din yun, dangerous din eh. Ang kipot-kipot niyang kalye, makipot ang Canon eh.
Yeah.
Lalo na kung may mga truck dyan.
Although, we were talking about it kanina, kasi mukhang ang basis ng declaration ni John B. Cremulya, yung Interior Secretary natin, na mukhang suicide siya dahil sa autopsy,
Yung mga injuries daw.
blunt force trauma consistent with a fall from a height, yung apparently yung pagkamatay. But yun nga, my question din is, yes.
Pwede siyang itinulak.
Yeah, yun nga eh. Perhaps that is true that the injuries are consistent with the fall from a height, but the injuries will
Pwedeng
not show
tinulak.
you whether or not she fell
Or
accident.
Pero ang hirap magtulak dyan dahil maraming ang dumadaang sasakyan.
Well, that's also true.
Oo
Diba?
nga eh. Oo nga
Hirap din magtulak dahil araw
Kaya
eh.
accident, pero kung accident yun, baka may nakakita.
Araw eh. Sabi ng
Siyempre,
asawa,
kung tatalon ka, siguraduhin mo na walang dumadaan.
actually yung asawa nagsabi na posibleng aksidente, posibleng nadulas, or posibleng
Pwede-
nag-suicide. Yun yung sinabi
Pwedeng
ng asawa. Dalawang possibilities. No?
Medyo mahirap nga yung tinulak.
Oo.
Kung tinulak yan, baka kumapit pa yan kung saan di ba?
Tsaka
Kung ayaw
araw
mo
eh.
pang maana di ba?
Araw,
Siyempre, you will
daanan.
try to save yourself.
Araw, daanan ng kalsada. Di ba?
Oo.
Kung
So,
kung si
Diba?
Manny
Yun
Mugato
ang
yung...
tendency mo kung
Tatalbog.
hindi yan intentional. You will try to save yourself Kung accident siya o tinulak, kahit papano meron yung na kakapit ka dun sa... May mga may mga damo-damo, di ba?
Tsaka hahanap na ng lugar na hindi ganyan. Hindi daanan ng sasakyan. Di ba? Pag si Manny Mugato tinulak mo, baka ikaw pa mahulog.
Si Mugsal lagi.
Sasama
Ikaw
ka
talaga si Mugsal ka pinag-init mo parati.
Ayun nagmumuni-muni ron
Nakatingin sa kawalan.
Oo. Ayun kung ayaw mong talagang siya, no?
Actually, pwede mong kausapin dyan yung US Embassy para
Very strict.
para gamitin yung kanilang satellite. No? Pwedeng
Para makita.
pwedeng tignan ng satellite yan eh.
Pero Bok, hindi naman yung satellite, hindi naman siya rolling the whole 24 hours a day eh. Di ba? It takes snapshots every now and then eh.
Ang taas, ang tarik-tarik, ano?
So,
Hindi, hahanapin mo
talaga,
kasi yung oras at saka yung lugar, no? Tapos i-focus nila.
tsaka, it also depends on how much interest the US has in this case.
Pero, sabi ko nga, kung papatay
Ba't naman
tayo,
sila
di ba?
mag-ubos ng resources, di
Yung
ba?
pingaanoin mo, di ba? Mag-West Philippine Sea na lang sila. So, there. Yung nga,
Ayan, no? Walang makakapitan, ano?
yeah. Well, the point being, over the weekend, nagsulputan ang sangkaterabat isa na mga conspiracy theories.
Dashcam.
Oo. Hindi lang dashcam, mga conspiracy theories mas marami.
Pati yung guest nyo rito, si Harry Roque. May mga sariling conspiracy theory.
Yeah. So I suppose...
Hindi ba, Ed, nag-cover ka ng pulis eh. Di ba mas madali kung barilin na lang? Kung magmamarder ka. Kasi ibig ko sabihin,
Actually,
kung
masigurado.
magtutulak ka, there's a chance na mag-survive din yan eh. Kung ayaw niyang kung ayaw niya matuluyan.
Paano hindi mo...
Kasi yan eh, susubukan niya na bumagal yung bagsak eh.
Saka hindi mo,
Tinulak mo yan eh.
saka hindi mo sigurado kung...
Hindi mo sigurado, she might survive. She might have survived.
Gano'n ka-fatal
Kung hindi siya,
yung uhulog eh. Di ba?
Although, Ami...
Pag si Manny Mugato, medyo ma-absorb eh.
Si Manu gano'n naman.
Ma-absorb.
Kapag ka eh, dadahan-dahanin mo yung fall mo eh, kung aksidente yan or ano eh. Or tinulak ka eh.
Although, Ami...
Hindi naman siya ganun kabagsak eh.
Pero, Ami, kasi kung binaril na lang yung victim, hindi pwedeng i-rule out ng Interior Department na walang foul play.
Kahit naman yan, di pa nila ma-rule out completely.
Pag ako dyan, baka nag-tumbling pa ako
kung papatay ka na
eh.
rin lang, sisiguraduhin mo, di ba?
Ano ka, si Scheider?
Ganun pa ako. Tumbling pa ako, tapos bagsak ko. Nakatayo.
Oo.
Yung napapalood mo sa sine.
Para si Scheider nga. So, ano yung limang Star Rangers?
Si James Bond, pag nahulog, ang bagsak niya, nakatayo.
Hindi. Kung si James Bond yan, yung mahuhulog yung kalaban niya. Kung si James Bond yan, biglang may lalabas na parachute.
Medyo pased yung mga comparison eh, di ba? Paskong-Pasko kasi, pinag-uusapan nyo, suicide.
But anyway, I suppose the point being, be careful then, to the general public, be careful then with the conspiracy theories kasi...
Well, for now, yung forensic evidence, ang tinutulak ay suicide.
Suicide.
For now. No? Unless may ibang ebidensya susulpot.
Oo nga.
Kasi I know it's really very interesting to look into conspiracy theories, pero at the same time, you also have to be responsible about the things that you spread on social media, especially if it's a conspiracy theory.
Actually, siyempre, aasahan mo yan dahil nga sa context eh. Di ba?
Yeah.
Sa context ng mga pangyayari.
It's a context of lack of trust
Siya yung-
over a lot of institutions.
Yes, lalo na siya yung isa sa pinakamaraming alam. 'Di ba? Sa mga pangyayari. Siya yung pinakamaraming alam dito sa DPWH, sa syndicate, scandal, etc.
Yeah.
At nangyari yan nung panahon bago siya mag-testify o bago siya hulihin. Ang alam ko kasi before Christmas ay talagang kakasuhan na siya. At sinabi na rin sa kanya yata yan nung meeting niya sa ombudsman na maghanda ka.
Tsaka plunder. If you listen to
Non-bailable.
last week,
Non-bailable.
plunder talaga yung balaki kaso sa kanya.
Ed, anong latest nyo dun sa, Ion Hotel ba yun? Ion?
Well, nag-resign yung abogado.
Yung abogado, nag-resign. For her well-being.
For her well-being daw, which is quite curious because of the timing.
Abogado nino.
Well-
Ng
well-being.
Ion Hotel.
Ang Ion Hotel,
So,
nag-resign.
it's a curious coincidence.
Matapos halughugin ng NBI nung Sabado yung hotel.
Dahil ang may-ari pala
Based on a search warrant.
dahil ang may-ari
May search
pala
warrant
talaga. Oo, may-ari pala talaga si Cabral. Tapos binenta niya this year.
Dinideny nila yun
Kay Eric
As
Yap.
of today ba? Hanggang ngayon, dinideny pa rin nila.
Sino nagde-deny?
Wala daw silang connection sa mga well-known personalities.
Oo, yung
Up
pamilya.
to today, yun ang official statement ng hotel. Ewan ko kung
hotel.
nagbago na sila.
Oo,
Kasi pati yung DILG, yun ang sinasabi, iniimbestigahan nila yung angulo na yun.
Tsaka ako yan, may paper trail yan. May bentahan yan eh. No,
Saka nag-issue ng warrant yung korte.
Oo.
Yeah,
Kaya
I
na-search.
think a search warrant.
Kaya na-search. Pagkatapos ng search, nag-announce ng resignation yung abogado ng hotel.
Well, the other curious thing that came up over the weekend was yung statement ng asawa ni Cabral saying na nagpunta si Yusek Cabral sa Baguio para magpahinga at magpalamig.
Mag-distress. Oh.
Yeah, I think those were the words. So I suppose a lot of people also found that curious kasi pupunta mag-isa. So,
Saka yung earlier statement ng pamilya, di ba, sabi nila, no sign naman daw na masyadong stressed or depressed, di ba? Dahil meron maraming mga speculation kumalat nung Biyernes. Yun yung initial statement.
Okay. Bok, kami tayo. Let's bring in our first guest for the day. I think he's already online. We have Batangas First District Congressman Leandro Leviste. Congressman, magandang hapon po and thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Magandang hapon, Congressman. No, long time no see. Oo.
Sir, nakamute ata kayo, sir.
Nakamute po kayo.
No po.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ayan na. Okay
yes,
na.
sir. Okay, sir, thank you for joining us. Sir, let me start off with this. Kasi I understand you had several interviews already and you spoke at length about the documents that you have that were turned over to you at least via soft copy ni Yusek Cabral. Could I back up a bit though and just be clear as to what is the nature of these documents and what do these documents nag-freeze ba? Sir, can you hear us pa rin?
Yeah, he can.
Oh, sorry, I can hear you now.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Ulitin mo yung tanong mo.
Yes, sir. Balikan ko lang, sir. Kasi you gave a series of interviews already about the documents given via soft copy to you by Yusek Cabral on September 4. And I understand some of these documents are quite controversial. But let me also ask you, first of all, ano ho yung nature ng documents na ito that you found controversial? Exactly what would they prove or disprove as far as irregularities and anomalies are concerned?
Siguro kung dagdag lang sa tanong ni Ed, ano yung context nung pagkuha nyo ng documents? What was the context then? At bakit binigay sa inyo ni Yusek Cabral?
First to Mr. Lingao's question, there's no surprise that almost every congressman, senator is allowed to insert projects into the DPWH budget. The document just proves that it happens even in the National Expenditure Program before it is even submitted in the House, which supposedly it comes from the DPWH, and shows which project has been proposed by which proponent. The more surprising part is that even members of the executive, including cabinet secretaries and undersecretaries outside the DPWH, have their own flood control project insertions according to the list. And there are even private individuals, I can say, who submit projects into the DPWH net. To Mr. Llamas's question on how I got it, I have also stated that on September 4, with a phone call by to Yusek Cabral and Yusek Cabral also to Secretary Vince. Secretary Vince had to release the documents to me, and I'm thankful that he did so in the interest of transparency. I also previously visited Yusek Cabral's office and had other communications requesting for information on the DPWH budget per congressional district because I think this affects all congressmen during the budget allocation period. And it was after Secretary Vince was to the DPWH that it was finally released to me. So I'm thankful for that, and I hope that the DPWH can make public more information about the budget. I think people can imagine they're sitting on a wealth of information that would be very interesting to the public.
To clarify lang sa Congressman, no? Finacilitate ni Secretary Vince Dizon yung pagbigay sa inyo ng mga documents. At ano yung scale ng documents? Gaano siya karami? Pag sinabing binigay sa inyo, anong kanon? Gaano karaming volumes yun? No? Gaano kalawak yung information na ibinigay sa inyo?
I set the meeting through Director Alex Bote from the office of Yusek Cabral. And when I was there on my second visit, Secretary Vince Dizon and Yusek Cabral called each other, and I asked that it be released in the spirit of transparency, which was already the declared policy of the DPWH under Secretary Dizon. And Secretary Dizon told Yusek Cabral, yes, let's be transparent and let's release it to Leandro. The scale of the documents is quite deep, and I think I can share that maybe Leon hadn't seen the documents when he told Yusek Cabral to release it, because he was only a few days in and hadn't actually been going to the DPWH yet. He was still, I think, turning over from the OTR. And the documents on just one tab are more than 17,000 rows, and there's multiple tabs. But the tab that I'm referring to is of the around that much in projects, 17,000 plus, the 2025 National X program. Each
Yun.
project in the NEP has notes including the proponents and other hand instructions that
Ami,
Nag-freeze.
before I ask, Ami, go ahead.
Nag-freeze. Nag-freeze siya. Okay, Congressman. Ang sabi kasi ngayon today ni is this Congressman, can you hear us?
yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Ang sabi ngayon today ni Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson, turned over na daw yung documents to authorities. Would you be aware of that?
I gave the documents to the ICI and the Ombudsman in
Yeah.
my meetings November 18, 19, and 26. Rather, I showed it to them, and they said it was the first time that they saw it. And they came to my office to look at it further, and they hadn't asked any questions after they visited. They said that it was helpful for them to find out who are the proponents in the ghost projects that they have been doing site inspections on.
Did they give you any indication if they will release it to the public? Kasi hindi namin alam until you talked about it. We didn't know na meron ng ganon. Although meron nang nagsasabi na Cabral had a ledger that included all those insertions. Pero did the ICC or anyone tell you, did they give you any hint when they intended to make it public? Or if they intended to make it public? Congressman?
Nag-freeze ata eh.
Oo,
I
nag-freeze siya.
think he froze.
Yeah, nag-freeze. Nag-freeze.
Okay.
O yun.
let's-
Kasi hindi ba remember, may nagsabi na rin, I think it was Ping. One of the persons we interviewed, sinabi sa atin, there is a ledger. Maybe it was one of the Remulias. There is a ledger and it contains nga yung mga details about the budget insertions. Pero hindi natin alam na it could be the same thing. Tapos siya na nga ang sabi ngayon today ni Ping Lacson na i-turn over na daw sa authorities. Eh, bakit hindi natin
I think he's
nababalitaan?
back.
Can I repeat my question? Congressman, did you hear me?
Yes, I heard you.
Yeah.
So-
Did they give any indication
I'm
if they
quite
plan
sure-
to release it to the public?
Has the same files. So I suppose that the Ombudsman and the ICI can also get that and even more files from the DPWH. But when I met with the ICI, and it was Secretary Singson whom I was mostly coordinating that meeting with, they were more focused on taking a look at it because it was the first time that it came to their... And I'm not sure if the files that Ombudsman Remulla was referring to are necessarily the same ones, because this file refers to notes that are digitized as well. There's a column that reads handwritten instructions, and the assumption is that in the DPWH they take a lot of notes of things, and it will be good for the DPWH Planning Services Office to just share everything with the ICI and Ombudsman, which, according to then Commissioner Singson, was not done.
Sir, sir, let me just get something clear. So we're not really talking about insertions in the same sense as yung mga BICAM insertions. What your list really shows are proponents dun sa level pala ng NEP building. Dun sa pagpuputulan pala ng NEP.
Yes. Some people.
Oh, I
But
think we get
in my opinion, it's even more of an insertion if it's in the NEP. The NEP is supposedly in submission, and until the latest budget deliberations, the DPWH denies that the NEP are including insertions or proposals of politicians. And sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Sir, baka it's better if we use na lang a phone. We have somebody call up your cell phone kasi mukhang yung data nahirapan tayo sa data eh. You're getting choppy eh. If it's okay, sir, we'll call your cell phone if that's fine. Para mag-audio na lang tayo kasi ano eh, hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng napuputol-putol din eh. Ano, Ami? What do you think?
Yeah.
Baka better if we just call you on the phone.
Oo, mobile siya eh.
Kasi ano eh, nagdi-disconnect din eh, o nag-freeze din eh.
Oo.
Actually,
But
yes, sir. Sir, we'll call your phone, sir. We're calling your phone right now.
Is then composed of proposals from politicians. Ms. Pamantu mentioned the allocable. There's 401 billion of that. And the excess of 120 is also has proponents. In fact, the allocable is the easiest to identify because we know that the district congressman has some control over the projects in their district. The allocable is for the district congressman. But the outside allocable is where the extra budget that includes the so-called leadership fund, which is actually called that in the file. It's called Leadership 1 and Leadership 2. And other people that have extra budget allocations are also indicated in the file.
Okay.
Who got the leadership funds? Who got the leadership funds?
Actually, in November, I already shared information about this list in relation to the projects of Congressman Edwin Garjola in my district.
Yeah.
Because he has 6 in my district, where 4 of them are under a list called CENTI 20, which is 20 billion of projects in this August 2024 file that in 2025 almost all ended up being awarded to companies linked to Congressman Garjola. And there were 2 projects of his in my district that were among the leadership tagged projects. So the meaning of that is that the leadership projects ended up with different groups of contractors, but at least 2 of them, the ones in my district, are from Congressman Garjola, and they are not insertions if you define that as BICAM. They are in the NEP, but effectively the same, and in fact even more hidden because they are being represented to be proposed.
Sir, I'll go back to yung listahan ninyo na yung mga pre-NEP proposals or proponents eh. Tell me if I'm getting this right. If I understood you correctly, the controversy is more of you have proponents who do not seem to putol ba?
Hindi, ayan siya.
I can hear.
Nandyan siya. But ewan ko yung connection niya, ha?
Hello?
I can see him eh.
Sir, can you hear us, sir?
Hindi narinig yung sabi mo kanina, Ed.
Oo nga eh. Sir, we're calling you right now, I think. Let's use na lang mobile phone. Okay? Are we on?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sir. Yan. Thank you, sir. Pasensya sir, medyo choppy-choppy tayo eh. So I figured it's better if we just talk on the phone eh. At least klaro tayo dire-diretso. Anyway, sir, my understanding, and tell me if I'm getting this right, my understanding is that the controversy over this list of proponents, as you might call them, dun sa NEP projects, is more of the nature of the proponents. You have people who are not just legislators, but you also have people who are in the executive, may mga secretaries and undersecretaries and so on down the line, and private individuals. And I understand your point of view, sir. Pero my question is this would it necessarily be anomalous or irregular? Ibig sabihin, irregular na ba at ma-anomalya na ba kung hindi congressman o senador ang nagpanukala ng budget na isasama sa NEP? I ask that because parang my impression is that that's not necessarily a bad thing because proposing projects is not the sole prerogative of legislators. In fact, pag congressman at senador na magpropose, magmumukha pang pork But constituents, private people, and even other politicians, I suppose, should be able to make proposals to be included in the NEP for consideration by the House in the future, because they are constituents and they are officials, and then therefore it would only become more of a question of tama ba ang pagpipili ng DBM na itong proyektong dapat prioritize. Yan po. That's my question po.
However, include cabinet secretaries and undersecretaries outside of the DPWH, which have no connection to the DPWH, and also names of contractors. And some of the congressmen and senators and other officials named in the proponents might also have some links to the contractors that ended up being awarded the projects. And that's why the question of who is the proponent of a project is important, because it is not conclusive, but it is some indication of evidence that there is some transaction involved in proposing a project and the contractor eventually wins the project. I think the clearest example of this is the cases where the proponent is an owner of the company that ends up as the contractor of the project, of which there are some.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is clear. Yes, sir. That much is clear. Pag may conflict of interest, that's clear already. Contractista, for example, and so on down the line. Pero otherwise, sir, wouldn't it be, part and parcel of the process for other people to be making pitches to the DPWH na isama mo naman to kasi kailangan namin dito?
Yes, I think we're not saying that there's automatically some wrong with insertions, but that the identities are not disclosed.
Okay.
So if the identities which are available are disclosed, then the public can do its own research, and maybe the reporters would actually have a lot of topics to research on what is the connection between each proponent and the contractor that ends up doing the project.
Yes, sir. I get your point, sir. Especially about the contractors. I agree with that wholeheartedly. If it's a contractor making the proposal, medyo alangan na rin yun.
But I would want to be fair to contractors. It's not only the contractors that are doing transactions with VPWH, because even a friend of a contractor can have some consideration received from a contractor, right? And
that's
it's
true.
very hard to pin that down. But when we see from paper trail of the DPWH that it's this friend that ends up putting it into the budget, then there's something to go on if there was some transaction that happened. And the call of the public is basically transparency.
Yes,
It's not necessarily reaching a conclusion, but if there's data, then why not release it?
Yes, sir. Sir, in line with that, yung transparency call ninyo, baka it's just about time to release it already. Anyway, si Vince Dizon gave the green light for Cabral to give you the document, and you're a public official, so I suppose that also means na it's free for all.
Pwede release.
Yes, I have a few points to that. The first is I'm thankful that he gave it to me, but I didn't tell him at that time that I was going to release it to the public. And I think it's only courteous that I allow them to address this themselves first. But second, that the reaction might be that if it comes from me, some will question, whereas I'm sure that this came from the DPWH. So if the DPWH is the one that releases it, and I have another copy, I can corroborate that it's the same file that I got, then they can be the best one to also give more background and explain the contents of it. And lastly, because there's a lot of people that are listed here, there might be a lot of consequences to its release, and some actually that might be quite dire given recent events. And I therefore respect that there might be some process that should be undertaken before releasing the files.
Congressman, have you talked with Vince Dizon today? Kasi lumabas ngayong araw yung mga news about it eh. Did he get in touch with you?
I
Have you
have not.
talked to him?
I have not. And I sincerely believe that they want transparency and reform in DPWH, but of course it's not an easy job to reform the allegedly most corrupt organization in government. And there's a reason for that, because a lot of people are benefiting from it, and it should not be blamed on them if they can't make everything transparent and corruption-free overnight.
And another thing, what exactly is the leadership fund?
There's just a group of projects under this list that are tagged with leadership as the proponent.
It doesn't refer to the proponent per se. Na is he is a top official or something like that?
No, it's actually, I'm just looking now at 16 billion pesos of projects where under the column of proponent, it says leadership 2 or leadership 1. So there's 16 billion of projects here that the proponent is leadership.
You mean, sir, the House leadership or the executive leadership?
It only says leadership. That's why, again, why am I asking the PPWH be the one to release it? So that maybe when they release it, they can explain, along with the files, what
it is.
Terms mean.
Kasi ngayon ko lang narinig yan, Ede. What is a leadership fund?
Well, from my understanding from sa kwento ni Congressman, hindi naman siya talaga leadership fund per se. Although, meron lang column kung saan ang proponent is leadership.
Yes, but what I would say approximately
Ibig sabihin siguro, mga bossing.
The leadership fund is allocable is 401B. And kanya-kanyang diskarte among district congressmen what to do with that. So that's not leadership. What is leadership is the outside the allocable, which is the bulk of the 320B. Now, the 320B includes here TICAS, which I think are the DND or AFP's DPWH projects. There are EDSA Rehab projects like that, which are not surprising by the public, are among the DPWH national priority projects. But then there are the bulk of the 320B that are not justifiably specially allocated projects of DPWH. In my own district, there is one project that is part of this non-allocable. That's not one of the projects of Congressman Garjola. So in my district, the non-allocable includes 794 million from Congressman Garjola, but there's also 280 million of solar streetlights at a cost of 230,000 per streetlight for 1,200 streetlights. And I can absolutely say there is no reason why of all of the projects in the country, the DPWH will have a special allocation for 1,200 streetlights in my district.
230,000 pesos, one streetlight?
Yes, so that is an example of a project allocated under this budget outside of the allocable of the congressman.
Okay. So the leadership fund is different from the allocables pa, ha? On top of the allocables, may leadership fund pa pala.
Yes, so, and that's something that the public might want to know. There's 401 billion allocable to the congressional districts, and there's 320 billion that's outside of the allocable under the National Expenditure Program.
Okay.
Okay.
I suppose we'll have to let you go, sir, kasi our connection is really not that good eh. But we really appreciate your taking the time to talk to us. Maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon, Batangas versus si Congressman Leandro Leviste. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman.
Salamat, Kong.
You're watching Storycon on One News. We just need to take a break. We'll be right back.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
We've got developing news in the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao, and of course with us, Ami Pamintuan ng Philippine Star, and Rol Llamas, our international man of mystery.
Ang daming ako na. Ang daming introduction.
Yun naman original mong pangalan, di ba?
So, Ami, anong tingin mo doon? Doon sa nilabas ni Juan. Parang what was that about? Yung nilabas ni Congressman Leviste.
Baka parang nagpe-pressure siya na ilabas nyo na di ba? Naghihintay siya. Ang tagal-tagal nang binigay hanggang ngayon, hindi pa ngayon lang natin
September 4 pa.
nalaman. Kung hindi pa niya sinabi, hindi natin malalaman na may ganon. Matagal lang sinasabi sa atin ng ibang tao, may ledger si Yusek Cabral, may ledger. Bakit hindi nilalabas?
Although ako
Kaya interesting.
kailangan din kasi ng paghihimay kasi it was...
yung iba kasi, legit naman yung yung... proponent di ba?
Oo, proponents.
You need project proponents to craft a budget.
Yun yung role ng Congress the power of the purse, di ba?
Hindi. Nag-umpisa yun sa NEP DPWH pa lang yan Simula yung kanya sa NEP hanggang sa
DPWH will start pulling in sinong kailangan ng project, saan kailangan maglagay ng project, tapos gagawa ng budget, ibibigay sa
DPWH yan Kailangan nila mag-put together ng mga proposal, ibibigay sa budget, tapos bibigay sa Congress, tapos hihimayin. Yun yung titignan natin, sino ba yung nasobrahan naman dyan ng pagpapropose.
Pero alam ko
Saka sino nag-propose dun sa anomalous projects.
Pero pag NEP kasi, Ami, ang hinihinga mo dyan, mga LGUs mga local government, yun yung hinihinga
Meron
mo
din sila, meron din sila. Meron din yung national.
Kailangan ng local
dahil
communities?
dahil theoretically, hindi yan role ng Congress
Yeah.
Theoretically,
Kaya nga, to think that only legislators have the right or the authority to make proposals sa DPWH would also sound pretty porkish
Kaya nga di ba nag-react si Senator Tito Soto at saka si Senator Ping Lacson nung hiningian sila ni Cabral ng proposal for about 500 million worth of projects. Na, ayun nga, sabi nga ni Senator Ping Lacson, hindi namin role yan sa NEP. Hindi role ng mga legislators na sila yung magbibigay ng laman ng NEP.
NEP dapat yun. Kaya yun yung iniintay natin. Sino yung mga proponent? Saka ngayon ko lang nalaman niya leadership fund na yan.
Well, hindi naman talaga siya leadership fund per se. More of may allocation doon sa isang column, tapos ang pinanggalingan ng proponent daw, leadership.
Pero dahil hindi natin kasi
Kaya
hawak
nga, ano nga yun? Ngayon ko lang nalaman yun.
Ibig sabihin,
pero dahil hindi natin hawak yung document, hindi natin alam ano talaga yun
anong konteksto?
Ang ginagawa lang natin ngayon,
may allocable ka na, may ganyan ka pa, tapos ano ba yun?
Ang ginagawa lang natin, conjecture kung ano ba talaga yun.
Baka pwede mo i-text si Vince Dison,
Tinext ko na.
Ronald, ilabas mo na, sabihin mo, ilabas mo na.
Tinext ko na kanina.
Niintay daw
ba
yung
yan?
permission niya
Hindi pa sumasagot
Okay. Hoy, Ami, teka, Ronald, we have the second guest for today. We have NBI spokesman Palmer Malyari. Sir, magandang hapon po, and thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Hi, attorney.
Gandang hapon
Choppy
po.
siya.
Hindi kayo marinig.
Choppy ata tayo, sir.
Choppy.
Naku, mukhang choppy. Sir, we'll try to call again kaya.
Parang may problema yung ating mga government officials sa link
O baka linya natin yan.
Baka linya natin, Choppy siya.
We will try to get
baka
Mr. Malyari again.
Reconnect. Reconnect.
Among other things kasi, we want to know kung ano yung balita kay Sara Diskaya.
Saka yung yung Ion Hotel.
Ion Hotel.
Ni-raid nila nung Sabado, sinerch.
Tsaka yung
Sinerch nung Sabado.
I think the NBI made a call for anybody with dashcam footage to come forward while traversing Canada.
Kaya nga yun, naglabasan yung ibang, hindi, kakunti lang naman.
And, sir, can you hear, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Ayun.
Ayan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, attorney.
Tanong lang po namin, ano bang role nyo dito sa investigation sa pagpanaw ni Yusek Cabral?
Naputol.
Hindi, kakausap ko
Putol uli.
Sige, sagutin ko. Naputol. Mga
Naputol
linya
ulit.
natin ngayon, talaga ano
Sila yung ano, di ba tumulong sila sa forensic?
Yeah, I think so.
Oo nga. Kaya nga mahalaga na
Tapos yung ano,
matanong
sila
natin
yung
sa kanila.
kumuha ng warrant. Search warrant.
For the Ion Hotel.
Search warrant para sa Baguio.
Yung mga police na first responder, tinanggal eh. Dahil nga
Oo nga.
na-fumble nila yung yung initial na pag-secure ng lugar.
Biyernes tinanggal na
Tsaka
sila.
tingnan natin, baka mamaya may balita rin kung sino talaga may-ari ng Ion Hotel from the NBI.
Ayun nga, kaya nga, alamin natin. Ano
Oo
bang
nga,
role nila?
yun nga gusto ko itanong.
Ano bang role nila ngayon dito sa investigasyon na ito? Sa iba't iba pang mga bagay, yung lugar na pinanggalingan ni Yusek Cabral, yung laptop, mga gadgets ni Yusek Cabral, yung cellphone. Na
Alam
hindi
mo,
ba-
yung cellphone tsaka yung laptop na yun, ako yun ang
Wala,
problema
nasa
ngayon
pamilya.
siguro eh. Kasi I remember, nung Friday, sabi mo nga naman, kahit burahin yung text messages, marirecover yan from the telecoms. So,
Makukuha yan.
tingin ko tama naman yun eh.
Oo,
Pero itong
makukuha
problema, paano kung yung ginamit ay messaging app like Facebook or Viber, hindi yan
Or Signal.
o hindi yan dumadaan directly dun sa telecom, ginagamit lang yung network pero hindi siya messaging through the telecom eh. So pag binura yung Facebook Messenger, for example, yung chat thread, would they be still able to
Mag-request ka dun sa dun sa Facebook Messenger dahil ginagawa naman yan sa kanila sa mga investigasyon.
Oo.
Oo. Kaya tingin ko obligado silang tumulong.
O sinusubpi na yan. Sa US, sinusubpi na yan.
No, that'd be interesting
Lahat yan nasa cloud.
if that can be done. But that also complicates everything kasi that's not even Philippine-based eh. Hindi gaya ng Global
Siguro
Smart.
yung panahon lang, hindi ganun kabilis.
So, si spokesman Malyari, is he here already? Wala pa rin. Maubos sa oras natin.
Wala ako nakikita.
Paimbestigahan natin yung ating paimbestigahan natin kung bakit hindi natin sila makontak.
Baka wala kang load. Teka, ipasa. Ay, sila ang phone.
Tayo pala may problema.
Sabihin ko sana, magpapasa load ako sa cellphone natin. Okay, our apologies.
Dapat kasi Philippine Star na lang gamitin natin.
Oo nga eh.
Para
Buti pa yung star, ang linaw-linaw.
mga Philippine Star, walang problema eh.
Sa ngayon, sa ngayon.
Oo. Kayo kasi mga
Kailan bang kuha to? Ano, Ed?
Which one?
Hindi siya naka-cordon, ano?
Oh, ito. What
after
we're showing
yan,
right now?
may dugo pa
Oo
After.
nga, bakit hindi? Wala man lang yellow line, ano?
Akala ko nilagyan nila ng yellow line.
Wala nasan? Kaya tinatanong ko, pero nandyan yung dugo, dapat meron na yung yellow line.
Nung Friday, I saw yellow line, yung yellow tape.
Baka nung nung inaakit yung katawan.
Oh, baka no.
Ito kasi
Dapat hanggang ngayon, meron niyang yun.
si Ami kasi maraming napapanood na detective movies eh. No?
Ay, ginagawa yung kuminsan dito, kuminsan may mga picture tayong ganun.
Yun yung mahalaga eh, kung minsan.
Ay, yan oh.
Kung minsan ginagawa.
Nakakakuha ng picture na may ganun eh. Bakit ngayon wala? Oh.
Pero parang
Baka nagalit yung mga pulis dahil tinanggal yung mga nila, yung chief of police.
Tanggal sila lahat. Yung tuba, saka yung provincial director, tanggal.
Okay, I'm afraid the phone really is not working, so we might not be able to get Pablo Malyari. But can we keep rolling that video? That's interesting kasi parang layo ng yung bato na may dugo, malayo dun sa sa
Oo
ledge.
nga eh. Parang tumulbog,
Mga killjoy kasi kayo, Paskong-Pasko, napaka-seryoso at napaka-morbid ng pinag-uusapan nyo eh. Wala bang mas masaya na mga balita? No? Ang Philippine Star ba walang masayang balita? Yung pang Pasko na balita, Ami.
Oh, Ami.
Merong kalye sa New York, pinangalan after Dr. Jose Rizal.
Okay, that's better.
In honor of the ideals of the Filipino migrant community. Ayan, positive yan.
Sa New York?
Positive yan,
New York City?
Sa New York, New York to. New York names a street
Napunta ba siya ron?
after Dr. Jose Rizal.
Napunta ba siya ron?
Hindi ko alam. Alam ko sa Europe, marami doon
Sa
mga
Europe kasi madalas siya.
Oo.
Pero sa
mga
New York,
marker, oo.
Hindi siya mabot ng New York.
paano kung nag-New York siya,
Wala,
baka
wala.
nag-TNT rin yan doon.
Tapos Sabi ng Malacanang, ending hunger is a fundamental right. Kaya sabi nila, na-lower daw nila hunger incidence. Ayan, tatanong kita. Ikaw, sabi, from 48.7% to 41.5%. O ayan, naghahanap kayo ng positive news.
Yan.
Galing yan sa Malacanang.
Philippine Star pala. Marami naman palang positive news tong Philippine Star eh.
Bias ka kasi.
Ayan pa. Philippine Navy, nag-conduct ng offshore patrol. Yung BRP Emilio Jacinto, Maritime Patrol, off Los Frailes Island sa Zambales. Ayun. Nag-test fire ng 76 mm na barel.
Aba?
Ayan.
Aba?
Off Zambales.
Hindi nag-jam, ha?
West Philippine Sea yun.
Hindi nag-jam, ha?
Tapos sabi ng COMELEC, ewan ko kung sino sa COMELEC, they want to push daw for the passage of an absolute, quote-unquote, anti-dynasty bill.
Aba? Oo. So ano ng status ng kaso ni Senator Chis Escudero?
Di ba, nag-inhibit siya si Chairman Garcia?
Palo, department pa lang yun, di ba?
Di ba?
Isang
Hindi, akit po siya sa
one
NBank,
section.
Akit po
section
siya
lang
sa
yun eh.
NBank.
Wala pang NBank eh. Diba?
Oo. Pero pag akit sa NBank, I think mag-i-inhibit si Chairman eh.
Yeah, I think he has no choice.
Diba? Yeah,
Kasi he represented
diba?
Cheese,
At that time,
So pag nag-inhibit
abogado
siya,
siya.
makaka-apekto yun dun sa botohan?
hindi ko alam kung ano yung magiging voting. Ilan ba yung member ngayon ng COMELEC?
And remember,
Diba?
he
Kasi medyo-
represented Cheese in 2022. In fact, siya may hawak ng... Siya pa
Sose.
file ng
Yeah.
COC eh.
Siya yung may hawak ng sose.
Yung COC.
Yung SOSE.
Hindi, yung
Baka
COC,
siya
yung
nag-prepare
Certificate of
nun.
Candidacy, hindi yung contributions and expenses. Yung COC mismo, siya yung nag-file.
Yan. Saka yung SOSE, meron namang sasabihin nila, kung tinatago namin yan, hindi na lang sana namin dineclare. Yan naman yung isang isang hugot doon, ha? Di ba? 30
Okay.
million yun eh.
Opo,
Pinangalanan nila eh.
Huwag natin pahabahin itong araw.
Hindi, hanap lang ako ng mga positibo
Yan,
eh.
nakaano ako ng good news.
Puro kasi kayo negatibo eh. Yung isa pang positibo, ang sabi ng China, nilusob daw ng ating mangingisda, yung Chinese Coast Guard.
O,
Kaya tinira nila ng kwan.
positibo yun kasi
Kaya
may
tinira
kakayahan na pala tayong ganun.
Ibig sabihin, talagang nilulusob natin yung mga bangka, Nilulusob yung kwan.
May kakayahan ng
Napanood mo yun?
mga mangisda natin.
Di mabuti, marunong pala tayo
Kaya nga
maglusog.
positibo. Pero napanood mo yun? Yung,
Hindi.
yung sagot ng China doon sa
Hindi.
nangyaring pang-i-injure ng mga isda natin. Tayo daw lumusob.
Okay.
May dala daw tayong mga kutsilyo. No? Ginamit daw natin yung mga bangka para i-ram yung kanilang Coast Guard. Parang,
Baka yung kutsilyo yung panlinis ng isda yun.
parang ko naman.
Fisherman yun eh.
Oo. Parang may ko naman tayo. May comedy. No? Pero seryoso yung China. Seryoso sila.
Kaya mo, hahanapin ko yung bagong ambassador. Interviewin natin. Magaling mag-English yan, ha?
Para magtapos naman tayo on a comedy note.
Tama na, may mag-overtime pa tayo. Tapos
Wala, comic note. Di ba?
Baka may mag-overtime tayo, tapos wala pa tayong pag-uusapan matino. Mag-goodbye na nga tayo. Whatever you wanna say, let's park it for tomorrow kasi baka bukas wala tayo makuha ang guest.
Hindi, meron pa eh. Meron pang positive eh.
Hindi ka dyan. May taping tayo mamaya. Okay, mag-thank you na tayo kay Ami. Ami, maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon. Ami Pamintuan, ng Editor-in-Chief ng Philippine Star, and Raul Llamas, a resident political heckler.
Nakahabol pa eh.
Umabol pa. Just again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for Storycon. I'm Ed Lingao, kapatid. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.